IVM.
Here's your smart fact of the day. How long should a workday nap be? So, if you're going to sleep in the middle of a workday, it should be 29 minutes, not 30, mind you. I don't know how they calculated this, but it seems to be legit. And 29-minute naps apparently make sure that you don't become groggy when you wake up in the afternoon, and you don't really get sort of trouble trying to fall asleep at night. On this episode of Smarter With Sid, what we are going to try and figure out is what's the best way to get refreshed during a workday? Is it a nap or is it something else? And I'll also talk about something that I'm personally trying out. Let's go. Recently, a company came into the news and especially was talked about in social media, on LinkedIn specifically, that they were encouraging their employees to sleep for about half an hour from 2 to 2:30. Apparently every day was designated nap time for the company, which is into fitness. And it's a very interesting sort of approach taken by the company. They're taking the medicine that they prescribe others and they're making sure that people have their nap time. Now, this is a laudable move, and it is something certainly that is long awaited, right? I don't think that it is very natural for people not to catch a wink or two when it's afternoon, you've had some lunch and you've been having a tough morning at work. And it's a step in the right direction, I think, and I think it should be encouraged. I just was trying to figure out, how did it all begin? And I was looking at the siesta, which is this Spanish siesta. And I think a lot of European and even, Indian workplaces actually shut down for the afternoon. And I know that where I come from in Pune, it kind of shuts off from 1 to 4. Apparently, everyone goes to sleep. Now, I know that's a myth. And of course, Pune has changed. But the fact is that everyone prefers to rest, rejuvenate, rejig their batteries and go on. Now, as somebody who belongs to the gig economy for the past few years, I think having a bit of a quick nap is something that I have been lucky enough to do on most work days. And it has certainly helped me. I think what has certainly been my experience is that if I kind of give up on just trying to have a really long sleep and give up on the notion that it is laziness, but it is something that's going to recharge me, it tends to work. I've followed the nap routine quite an extent, to be honest. And one of the really interesting pieces of advice that came my way was kind of drink coffee before I have a nap, because the coffee apparently kicks in after, let's say, 40-45 minutes, and then you wake up all stimulated. I don't know. I didn't try too much of that, but I do know that I don't like to sleep beyond half an hour if I'm taking a nap, which is quite often if you're in the gig economy. I saw my student and a really good upcoming stand-up comedian make a really good joke about this. He said that now that you're in the gig economy, and he was talking about how people in the employment world are not particularly averse to taking naps in the loo. So you go and sit on the commode and try to go to sleep. So there are many stories over here. And it's Smarter With Sid. What I thought was that, yes, sure, we do explore the world of business, we do explore the world of marketing, we do explore new things, new trends and technology and all of that. But once in a while, I like to just figure out, can we broaden our scope a little and figure out, can we actually make ourselves smarter with the way in which we manage our workday? So this one is one of those episodes, and I just wanted to give a bit of context around this. As you know, we start with context, go to first principles, then look at a few takeaways. So till very recently, over the past few years now that I'm this gig economy chap and in the professorial world, I have certainly tried to get a nap, and not steal a nap, mind you, get a nap, which has certainly refreshed the way in which I approach work for the rest of my day. But of late, I've been trying something different. And I have actually literally given up on my nap time to do this. It's for the same amount of time. I'm not working. But what I'm trying to do is a specific kind of sound meditation. And so I have given up my nap time for this sound meditation time. So why have I done this? I wanted to do this because I saw a few videos on transcendental meditation. And that was pretty interesting because transcendental meditation is something that you have to pay for. Then you get some mantra and then you go into a meditative or trance state, and then you transcend everything and stuff like that. And I'd heard it and I was a little averse towards trying something which sounded, cult like. But then I came across this YouTube channel, and which was just doing transcendental type meditation, focusing on a sound rather than a mantra. And I said, why not give it a shot today instead of a nap? Let me try and meditate. So this was what my experience was. My experience was quite amazing, to be honest. Sure, maybe I was framed towards believing that something else might happen because I'd seen Jerry Seinfeld and so many other, David Lynch and so many others talk about transcendental meditation in glowing terms. And I thought, wow, these are high productivity individuals and they're managing this and they're doing TM. Apparently, Seinfeld went on to say that he kind of, on the number of years that he was kind of recording his series, Seinfeld, he used to do TM every day. In fact, he used to sacrifice his lunch time for it. And that set me thinking. I said, okay, here's a high productivity guy doing something like this. And can I not try this? So I've been doing this for a week. And while it's still early days, this is what I've found. I think it gives a very different feel than a nap. It just makes you feel completely relaxed and yet alert. And by listening to a sound, my feeling was that you just stop your thinking mind. And sometimes actually what probably is most required is for you to stop thinking for a while, because thinking, trust me, does take time and energy and effort. And the moment you kind of are able to stop thinking, you are able to just come back into the world of being peaceful in the moment. And what I noticed was that I had even more energy than when I was napping. And so I'm going to continue this because I've realized that, wow, this is giving me more energy and more creative thoughts too that come to mind, and just an overall sense of positivity. So if you're napping, you wake up, you do feel refreshed, but you don't think that you've done anything special or amazing to enhance or boost your productivity. I might be kind of creating a story to believe, a placebo effect, if you want to call it. But all said and done, if a placebo effect is working, I'm going to try it, because anything to help me make sure that I give the best of myself, isn't it? That's a smarter way of doing things. By the way, I combine this with the Wim Hof method, which I will talk about in another episode. I have talked about it a couple of years ago when I started, this podcast of mine. It was called The Traveling Professor's Diary then. Now it's called Smarter With Sid. But I was talking about the Wim Hof method and what it meant for me. It's a breathing method. I do that in the morning before I, begin anything else, and I stack it up with some light workout. So that's the morning. This is in the afternoon, and I will keep updating you guys on the way in which this meditation stuff goes, and do I continue with it, or do I go back to my napping, or do I give everything up altogether and just see a Netflix show? Who the hell knows, man? Who the hell knows how people relax? But to be honest, my takeaway is I think everyone should rest, whether it is napping or whether it is going for a small walk or whether it is even just switching off and seeing some nonsensical YouTube or Netflix, or whether it is meditating. Each and every one of these activities has some benefits, but it kind of does switch your mind off. It helps you take yourself less seriously, but you take your work more seriously, if you get what I'm saying. So I'd love to end this episode right here, with these takeaways. I hope you like this episode of Smarter with Sid. And if you like this episode, do like and subscribe. Tell me how I can improve this stuff more. And if you like podcasts like these, IVM's got a lot of great stuff for you. And hey, if you like me, I'm the Traveling Professor. You might know me on LinkedIn or on Instagram. Do follow me there.
There's a quick survey to fill out on ivmpodcast.com/survey. It lets us know a little bit more about who's listening to us. And you know what? We're going to do a few prizes. So, we'll do a random drawing of maybe 10 people, and we'll send you all some swag. Remember, that's ivmpodcast.com/survey where you can fill out the survey. Hello, everybody. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Pesa Vesa, Anupam meets co-founders and co-CEOs of Stockcall, Sitashwa Srivastav and Vinay Bharadwaj. They discuss how global investing is evolving. On Smarter With Sid, Siddharth shares what makes for a great thumbnail on social media. On Ek Chuski Finance, Priyanka shares the secret recipe of return on investment. Is India a deadly country for journalists? Media freedom activist Daniel Bastard shares his take on the Wire Talks with Siddharth. And on Say No to Drama, Chetna tells us how we can overcome the bad habit of unnecessarily interrupting a conversation. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, we've been doing a series of profiles of people within the office, so do check that out for sure. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Also, don't forget to rate us on any platforms you're listening on. And you can also check us out on YouTube. We have a page on our website, ivmpodcast.com/YouTube, with a list of all our channels. We're also doing a small listener survey to better understand how you, the listener, responds to the advertising on our network. And also, we just want to know a little bit more about you. We would really appreciate it if you could spare a few minutes to fill it out. It will really help us build some better shows for you. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week, SBI Life Insurance and Jupiter, a digital banking app.